I also want to give a big shout out to our Patreon supporters. Thank you so much for jumping on Patreon and helping support this channel, support the content that we're doing, and hopefully, other dads are taking away something that is helping their situation. So thank you to Adam, Christina, Rachel, and Jonathan. Thank you guys so much for your contribution and helping support over on Patreon. So I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much.
Everybody
Yep.
told me her mom was my greatest enemy, is my greatest ally.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Daddy Issues. Our guest today is going to introduce himself and tell us a little bit about his story.
My name is Eric.
Cool.
I'm a single father. I now, for about the past 15 months, have had full custody of my daughter. Um, mom and I sat down and decided it was best for me to have full custody because
Oh, wow.
her living situation. Um, because of situations that were at her home at the time, and my daughter's currently in 6th grade. During the 4th grade year, my daughter missed almost 50 days of school.
Wow.
And there was no communication with school between me, and so it was just better that she come to live with me.
Yeah, how far apart do you guys live?
We're about an hour away,
Okay.
and we've been through a lot. So almost 2 years ago, I got into the church and that I'm in now, and provided me an excellent amount of stability, and which has provided my daughter a lot of stability. And so her mom is kind of coming around and seeing that that's very important to her.
Yeah.
And mom's not completely there yet, but she's seeing that that's good for her too, So, but we're working together. We've been through a lot. We've been through a lot of fights. We've been through, yeah. So we're working together. You
Yeah,
know,
that's huge.
um, you know. But the other thing is too is I'm plugging my phone in. We found a little over a year ago that medically I cannot work full time anymore.
Yeah.
So that's been a huge challenge, financially.
Yeah.
But we're at a point right now where we're not there yet. Sometimes it's hard to get the bills paid, but we're better.
Yeah. And
Um,
for you and your ex, did you guys have to go through the court system at all, or you guys were
we
able to
did.
talk it out?
Um, I was forcibly removed from the home
Yeah.
pretty much by CPS. Um, there's just a huge backstory I won't go into, but because my daughter has a half sister that had a lot of background, we'll just go with that.
Yeah.
But so I couldn't see my daughter for a year.
Wow.
Couldn't talk to her. I couldn't even send her a birthday card.
Oh, God.
Um, so there is a lot of healing that has to be done.
Yeah. How's your daughter taking this all? Or how old is she?
She's
Uh,
11.
11. So she understands what's going on.
She's getting there.
Yeah.
There was a lot of fighting. There was in our relationship. There was a lot of physical abuse.
Yeah.
There was a lot of mental abuse. Um, both ways.
Yeah.
It wasn't just me on mom.
Hey guys, this episode is brought to you by BetterHelp.com. if you're listening to these podcasts, then clearly you're going through, a hard time. And I used to think therapy was, kind of a joke. It wasn't really for me until I actually went and, realized it's very beneficial. Even doing these podcasts, talking about our issues and, the things that men aren't really supposed to do helps out tremendously. So go check out betterhelp.com. And if you use the code Daddy Issues Podcast, you'll get 10% off your first month of therapy. So that's betterhelp.com/Daddy Issues Podcast.
But where I am now in my faith in God has shown me that who I thought was my greatest enemy, who everybody told me was my greatest enemy, her mom. Everybody
Yep.
told me her mom was my greatest enemy, is my greatest ally.
What a perfect thing to say right there. That's huge.
My daughter this week alone, in the last 8 days, has had about, out of those past 8, 9 days, has had 6 of those days has had mental meltdowns.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't console her. So we have had 11:30, 12 o'clock at night. It's been FaceTime calls with mom that's been able to calm her down.
Yeah.
So I have had,
Now,
and
why
this,
why do you think you can't console her? Just because of like
what's
being
that?
a man, or you're just, why do you think you can't give her that consoling love or whatever, like when she's having an argument or she's feeling stressed out? What makes you not be able to comfort her in that way?
I think there's a serious disconnect with our daughter that, um, with her mom and I's relationship, um, our daughter does not adequately know how to give and receive love.
Yeah, so she won't let you in that way.
Exactly. She won't let
Yeah.
me in. Some
Right.
people
Yeah.
she will, most people she won't.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's going to take time to heal. So we have to identify, and that's even working with the school. We
Yep.
have to identify people that she will let in, that when she's having a hard time, send them down to the school's social worker, send them down to the principal, whoever she needs to talk to, get it out of her before it explodes.
Yeah.
And that way there we can help her at home.
Yeah. And I mean, I just love how you said in the beginning how toxic your relationship was, and you know how you guys are getting along now. It's so important for dads to understand that. I mean, I went through years of a shitty time fighting back and forth with my ex, but then you realize it's like if you can just get along, it's so much better for you and
Right.
her, but so much better for your kids as well.
Yeah.
So how did you get to that point? I mean, I know you said church, but like what advice I guess could you give to other dads out there that could get to maybe that point without having to go through court or all the drama that comes with it?
The only thing that worked for me was church.
Yep.
And I'll be honest with you, my pastor, see, I grew up Catholic, and I always knew something was missing. And I'm not pushing anything on anybody, but this is my experience.
Yep.
It didn't work for me. My pastor found me 2 years ago when I was at work, and we were on a busy day, right? And he was having a bad day. And my boss did not like this. I was a cashier, and it was a busy day. He took 5 minutes to pray for me, pray with me.
Mm-hmm.
My boss did not like that.
Of course, yeah.
He gave me his card, and I'm like, well, I don't have a ride to church. I don't have a car right now. He said, don't worry about it. Call this guy, text this guy. He'll get you to church. Took me 3 months, and I finally, one Sunday morning, texted the church through their Facebook page. I'm like, I want to come to church, but I don't have a car. They're like, well, get your work schedule together. Here's the time we can pick you up. So I figured out my work schedule. They came to pick me up. Never looked back. Well, I started going to this church, changed everything.
It's
But my
huge.
pastor started talking to me about things. I knew in my mind he was right.
Yeah.
But last Sunday's sermon, he preached on a change of heart. People can give you advice as long as they're the right people. They can, and you know in your mind, right, that you need to change your heart. You need to be nicer to people. You need to show love to people, kindness. But it doesn't click.
Right.
But for me, it was that one sermon. And I went home, and I'm not joking. I went and had a 2-hour FaceTime call with her mom.
Wow.
And it changed everything. Literally everything. And when you, as a man, we're in society, we're not taught to say, I'm sorry.
Yep.
See, I grew up in a home where I was loved, but it was shallow. It was not deep. But I also grew up in a family of judgment. So not of acceptance, judgment. There's a difference.
Yeah.
When I made that FaceTime call, I've told her mom many times over the years, we've known each other 12 years, that I'm sorry, but I never meant it. When a man can this is important. When a man can humble himself, not only before God, but before the woman he hurt, humble himself enough to say, I'm sorry for everything I've done to you, and mean it. And not only say that to that person, but where my daughter heard it.
Mm. That's big.
That's important for her to hear.
Yeah.
Because not only does it show her mother that I mean this, but it shows her that I mean it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just important to her mom. We're, like I've told her mom, I've even told her half sister this. We're not married anymore. So we're not really a family anymore, but we are a family.
Right.
If
You'll
that
always
makes any
be. Yeah,
sense.
yeah, yeah. You'll always be connected to her because of the children. You taking down your guard though by apologizing and saying that over the phone. Did that get her to kind of take down her guard as well, and like
It
she accepted
does.
it,
It
and yeah.
does. The thing is, we're not taught to be vulnerable.
Right.
We're not. And you have to be. In life, a man has to learn to be vulnerable. And until a man is vulnerable, there's nowhere you can go in life.
Yeah.
So, my advice to men is do what you need to do. If you need to get into a church, do it. If you need to get into a Bible study, do it. I'm not pushing it on anybody. Find what works for you. Get into a men's group, get into a recovery group. I haven't drank in 4 years.
Good for you.
Get into an AA group. Get into an NA group. Get somewhere. Get yourself better. I don't know the men that listen to this. I don't know where you're at in life. Get yourself better. Do it for your kids. Do
Yeah,
it for
and
your
that
ex. Do it for your ex-wife.
yeah, I mean that's the thing. Once you change your routine and change the things that you're doing, you're gonna just get better and better and better and better.
Right.
I mean, you
Because
earlier said you started off without a car and you went to the church, and I'm assuming now you're doing pretty well. You have your daughter full time now, so it's like you must be doing something right.
I'm not completely there yet because,
Of course, yeah.
you know, the doctors still don't know what's wrong with me, but we're doing okay.
Yeah.
But humbleness, humbleness, you know. So my advice to men is, we hear keep fighting a good fight. It doesn't have to be all aggression. We're taught to be assertive and aggressive in life. That's what society teaches us. That's how I grew up. It doesn't have to be that. I'm 46 years old and I'm just learning that.
Right.
So for
Yeah.
these 20-something-year-old dads, don't teach your daughters that. Don't teach your sons that. You know,
Yeah, and it's funny too because when you're a kid and you have these older, people saying don't do this, don't do that in high school and stuff like that, and then you do it and you're like, damn, I wish I listened.
right?
Again, somebody's giving you some older person is giving you some advice. Take it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like take it
yeah,
and go with it because you're gonna regret it. You're gonna waste 20 years. You're gonna be like, damn, I wish I listened.
right. Yeah. So, you know, um, hindsight's 2020. I wish I knew then what I knew now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know I was adopted into my parents adopted me. I was abused by my biological parents, but that's not an excuse. But I, people throughout my life tried to guide me in the right direction. Stubbornness won't get you anywhere,
Yep.
so just my advice is wherever you're at in life, whatever your faith is, not everybody believes, but do what works for you.
That's
So,
awesome. Great. Yeah.
but, we've all heard it, right? Don't make the mistakes I made.
Yep.
And this is real life. Now I'm dealing with correcting the mistakes that I made.
Yep. Well, you got to start somewhere too. So,
Yep.
it seems like you're doing great or at least getting to that, getting to the next level. So good for you,
Right.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, man, for sharing your story and being a part of this. And I
Yeah.
hope
And I'll
people can
tell you
take
what.
something away from it.
And if any of the guys out there want to reach out to me for more wisdom, I'm sure they can get a hold of you and feel free to contact me.
Yeah, yeah. I'll put your Facebook in the description so they can find you.
Me down, you can hold me down. You can hold me down. You